have to say it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more.
And make it sound like it's acceptable. The murder of civilians is acceptable, you know?
Because it is men who are going to resist against enslavement. It's only men who are going to cause a revolution and fight back against the evil people who are trying to make us all nothing more but slaves.
Yo, what it do? Welcome back to another episode of BUA. I'm your host, Heru Adamu. Here we talk business, politics, war, love, and everything in between. Let's get into it. There's a moment circulating right now that should make everyone pause. A man, Don Lemon, arrested inside of a church for standing against ICE. A church, a sanctuary, a place that's supposed to be off limits. Let's take a look at what happened there.
Former CNN anchor and a former colleague of mine and friend, Don Lemon, has been taken into custody by federal agents, according to his attorney. It comes after Lemon covered the protest earlier this month, dozens of anti-ICE protesters rushing inside of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Now, Don has said that he was just there as a journalist, photographing the incident as a journalist, asking questions as a journalist after the protesters went in, and has been very clear he was not part of the protest group. In a statement, Don Lemon's attorney says, quote, "This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court." Now, I just want to quickly let you know, Don Lemon spoke with Allison Camerata, another former colleague and friend from CNN, who now works for Scripps News, about the church incident. Let's go to what she told us just moments ago.
So he said that he was covering a protest. This is the St. Paul church. The protesters had reason to believe that the pastor there was an ICE agent. And so Don, the way Don described it to me is that he was doing what we do. He was covering a protest. He wasn't conspiring with them. He knew that they were going to be protesting something. He wasn't in on their plans, he says, beforehand, which is one of the things that the DOJ has suggested. And then he stayed outside, he says. The protesters went inside the church. And when he realized that the protest was unfolding inside the church, he then went inside.
They were upset because they believe one of the church's pastors also served as an acting field officer director of ICE. So people showed up to this church to protest, and Don Lemon, I believe, came there just to report and was actually arrested. So things are ramping up between the American citizens and ICE at this time, and you got the Black Panthers, you got black reporters, you got black people getting involved with this stuff now, and it has nothing to even really do with them. It's about immigration. So you got a lot of people that really feel like immigrants are here illegal or migrants are here illegal, and they shouldn't be here illegally, and they're not against migration, they're just against doing it illegally. And then you got people that think that, you know, that the ICE are like the stormtroopers for Trump, and they come just to basically put people in fear. I think it's more so a little bit of both. So the people that have the guns and the control the media, they're going to have control over how people think about a lot of this stuff, and they want to keep everyone in division so that they can control resources at the end of the day. So this is what I mean. You got black people getting involved in stuff that has really nothing to do with them. They should really focus on their communities and building up themselves so that they can defend themselves versus something that may come their way, because this is just one thing today. ISIS today is going to be something else tomorrow to hold people back or to control the masses of people that could, you know, rise up against the government. So obviously the Latino community is one of the fastest growing communities in the country, and they had to put some type of stop to this. You know what I mean? It's simple, because they're not going after just any immigrant. They're going after black and brown immigrants. And in this case, 2 white people have actually been killed because they're hiring so fast that they're not even doing any background checks on these ICE agents, and they don't even have skills, and they accidentally killed 2 white people already. So The government's actually about to face a shutdown, or the Democrats are trying to shut the government down at this point, since 2 white people have been killed by ICE agents who are being overly aggressive. I mean, this is just getting out of hand, and you can see people are going to jail, getting arrested, being killed. Kids are being kidnapped and used for ransom, and it's just becoming real ugly out there. But that's exactly what they want it to be. So the uglier it is, the better for them. So then they have a reason to say, look, y'all are hostile, we have to use more force on you. So that's the game they want us to play, so they can have some type of justification to have more force towards the people. Now, let's talk about influence and irresponsibility. Nicki Minaj shows up to a Trump rally, not as a policy expert, not as a strategist, but an entertainer. And that's the problem. Let's take a look at what Nicki had to say.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate, or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's gonna motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen. Okay.
Now, what the hell was that? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? God is with him and gonna protect him. I don't know how much money they paid Nicki. I mean, obviously, it's not even about money. I think she has some type of. The internet is saying it's something about her, like, her husband, and trying to get him through his case as being like a sex offender or something like that. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think that Nicki wants to be relevant, and a lot of these entertainers, they're not relevant anymore making music, so they have to do something. And obviously they have some level of, they're being given some opportunity at some level, and it's all about connections in the world, so Nicki Minaj is trying to do, I don't know if they paid her some money. I don't know if she's trying to leverage some legal stuff. I have no idea what Nicki Minaj is doing up there. But I do know that she's going to influence a lot of people to take this shit serious. You know what I mean? They just use our black entertainers like nothing. And they really sign up to do this shit. Like, they're like, shit, all right, I'll go up there and talk. And you have nothing to say. Nicki Minaj is not politically conscious in any way. Why would you just stand up there knowing that you have millions of fans and support something that you don't even know about? I wouldn't have a problem if you supported Trump, but you don't know what the hell you're talking about. When you have millions of young fans and you don't understand policy, power, consequences, your platform, it becomes a weapon. So entertainment doesn't excuse ignorance. Then we see something different and honestly refreshing. Victor Wembanyama gets asked about ICE during an ESPN interview. No rant, no clout chasing, just clarity.
A statement regarding the protest in Minneapolis in support of it, saying, it's supporting free speech and fight for justice. I was wondering what your thoughts are on the situation in Minneapolis.
Yeah. PR has tried, but I'm not going to sit here and give some politically correct, I know, every day I wake up and see the news and I'm horrified. I think that it's crazy that some people might make it seem like, or make it sound like it's acceptable. The murder of civilians is acceptable, Every day, I read the news and sometimes I'm asking very deep questions about my own life. But you know, I'm conscious also that saying everything, you know, that's on my mind would have a cost that's too great for me right now. So it's, I'd rather not get into too many details.
Is that kind of a big factor in this, that people have that fear that if they speak openly about an injustice they see, there can be repercussions?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's terrible. It's, and, you know, I know I'm a foreigner. You know, I live in this country, and I am concerned for sure.
Is that part of your hesitance, being a foreigner? Does that play into your?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's yeah. I'm not getting too many details, but yes.
Did you see what
Wemby said? If he speaks out on what's going on in this country, then it will weigh too heavy on his career. Just think about that for a second. PR has been telling this young man, a 20-year-old from, I believe Wemby's from like France, so he's a migrant. He's somebody here from another country that contributes to our society through entertainment, but a young international athlete showing more political awareness and restraint than most of these grown celebrities like Nicki Minaj, you know. But it's crazy how scared he is, and when he said he turns on the TV and I feel scared, and not to mention I can't speak out about this stuff because it would put too much strain on my career. Just think about that, guys. Think about being in the NBA or the NFL or being an athlete and you can't speak about this stuff because you'll lose your job. Does that sound like a free country to you guys? Does that sound like liberty, where athletes who want to make money, and especially black athletes and entertainers who want to make money, are being used by the media to steer people in a certain type of mentality, and they need this type of chaos to continue to facilitate having control over everybody? You know what I mean? So they want to have control over everybody, so they need chaos, so they create problems that aren't even there, not even knowing that somebody like Barack Obama, who's not even really black and doesn't even subscribe to being black until it's politically advantageous for them, just like Kamala Harris, it wasn't advantageous for her to be black until she needed to be black. People only want to be black when it benefits them. They want to be black when it's cool, when it's popular, when they can use it to, you know, get ahead in society. And not that it's a positive thing. They just use black to get the black people on their side because they know black people are not politically conscious, and they know that they're a big group of people in the United States. Even like 14% of anything, 14% of a business, 14% of the stock market, that's a big number. Even though it sounds small, 14% is huge, you know what I mean? So the small percent of America that we do make up, most of these kids, they look up to athletes like Wemby, they look up to celebrities like Nicki Minaj. So it's very important that we understand that Wemby cannot speak out and say what he wants to say. Being a migrant, a black migrant here in America, he can't speak out, and he can't speak out if he's from here or not from here. It doesn't really matter. You know, that's what happened to Kyrie Irving. Every time he speaks out, he gets in trouble, he gets, you know, suspended. So you really can't speak. Remember all them people that lost their job for speaking out about Charlie Kirk? You know, you don't actually have freedom. You don't actually have rights. You have the right to express yourself as long as it doesn't go against the government in any way. That should tell you something. And now we arrive to the loudest voices online. Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit talk about repulsive nature of modern women. Whether you disagree or agree isn't the point. The real question is why the message resonates so deeply with young men across America.
She could take all your kids. A woman can completely recommend you did not do. A woman can take half your money. She could take all your kids. A woman can completely recommend, even if he does absolutely everything right. This entire world is being run by women, and the evil people in charge of the world are trying to make women more powerful than men specifically, because it is men who are going to resist against enslavement. It's only men who are going to cause a revolution and fight back against the evil people who are trying to make us all nothing more but slaves. And I think this entire divide we see between men and women is actually extremely important for us to try and heal. I think if we heal it, a lot of things will be fixed along with it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well said. Fair
So
enough.
Tate talks about some important stuff that's going on in today's society with relationships and how much leverage women have been given over men in societies. See, in the black community, we definitely live in a matriarch. So like in the West, we more so live in a matriarch, even though it comes off as a patriarch, because women have more rights, more power, more everything than men. And in the black community, everything is just like more so 10 times worse. 100% the black woman is the head of the household in the black community. Now, what are the effects? What are the effects of black women being the head of the household? Well, the effects are total damnation. Children are 85% more likely to end up in prison or become criminals or on drugs when raised by a single mother. So, I mean, the effects of, and women look at it as though all of the men are holding them back, when really it's truly men that are in power. And there's just a small few men that are in power, and none of those men are black men. So if we continue to give women more power, let them make more money, that's great. But what are they going to do with the money and the power? They're likely just going to go traveling, go shopping. They're really going to do nothing. They're not going to fight against ICE. They're not going to fight against injustices. They're not going to fight against armies, because women don't fight. They just want more power and more money so they can crush men, but they don't realize they need their men to crush other men. So this is an interesting conversation. I think it's important to understand that you're not actually given this leverage. And like a lot of people are starting to realize that like Harriet Tubman was a spy, and like these people, like, you know, like Martin Luther King was being used as a pawn and stuff like that. People are starting to come into enlightenment with the fact that even freed slaves are not necessarily free. You were put in that position by the people that have power for a reason, you know. So it's not as though you're doing this on your own, or you freed yourself, or you're independent or anything like that. You're not independent till you own the land, till you make the laws of the land, till you're the major distributors of products, and you own all the institutions, the banks, the hospitals, the schools, you know, till you control those type of systems. You create your own language. We're not even speaking our own language. We're speaking a language that was given to us by our oppressor. You see, people not even speaking their own language, but they swear they know what they're talking about. So it's just important to know that women are not independent. They're not, you know, rising up or anything like that. They're literally purposely being leveraged over their men so that their men are weak and docile and don't fight for resources. If you zoom out, every segment tonight connects. State power, celebrity influence, youth manipulation, gender conflict. None of it's random. Culture isn't chaos, it's engineered. The question is whether we stay reactive or become intentional thinkers. This is BUA. I'm Heru Adamu. I'm going to see y'all on the next one.